So shipmates, lots of you have been asking me, what am I going to wear? And so I thought I'd give a little video just to entertain you, but just to give you an idea. You may be able to adapt your own wardrobes in order to sort out what you might bring on this sailing holiday. I don't like to be cold. I'll toss away the joke cap that someone gave me. Headgear, really useful to have a snood. One of these tube things you can get from Blacks or various other walking shops, just to sort out that neck area where it gets potentially pretty cold. You may prefer to have the full works balaclava. If you're up in the Outer Hebrides, who knows, that might be something you need. There's the hole. There we go, something like that. But you need a cap as well, or something for your head. Sailing caps have the advantage, although you can get add-on bungees which have little clips on, and you'll need these when you're sailing. So cap on, but you'll need it clipped on in order to stop it disappearing overboard when the wind takes it. So I recommend a cap or some other kind of hat which has a clip on the end of it. Of course, throughout all of this, sun cream, pretty essential, because we're going to get amazing weather, are we not? High factor, because otherwise you're going to get pretty sore and it's going to be pretty unpleasant. For your hands, I've got quite a few pairs of gloves. The ones I prefer have no ends to the thumb and the finger, which makes it much easier with knots and any fine work that someone might ask you to do. And if you want your own pair, that's fine, but I'm pretty sure I've got sufficient numbers of pairs for everybody. Life jackets. I managed to get half a dozen life jackets at a jumble the other day, and I'm about to have them serviced this week. There's the kind that has a pull cord like this, which means that if you're in the water you pull it and it all inflates. They're all going to be re-gassed this coming week, but if you find that a bit of a struggle, or if you've been knocked on the head, who's going to be pulling your little rip cord? I've got a couple of these which are more the kind that you get on your ferry under your seat, or in an aeroplane, I guess. Never happily ever had to worry with one of those. Flotation aids, and these much easier, and if you're overboard you're immediately floating without having to pull your rip cord. So we've got those available, you haven't got to worry about those at all. A waterproof jacket. They used to come really padded. It may be you can adapt something you've already got for walking or something like that, rather than having to spend a lot of money on a sailing one. The advantage of sailing ones is that they have kind of double elasticated cuffs like this that you can tighten up, stop the water coming up your sleeve, but really you don't have to get one. So that's top wear when it's cold and windy. The area where, if you don't have salopettes, you want to just be thinking about how to keep yourself warm is around your tummy, because of course that's where your clothes normally join. Salopettes have the advantage obviously of being straight down. Major problem for women if they want the loo, I'm told. Much harder for you. So salopettes is a possibility, but you may just want instead something like a jacket underneath your waterproof in order to be a sort of inner jacket. I got this one some years ago on holiday and it's done me proud. Nice sleeveless one so you don't get too hot. And then as you go further down, I took those off because they were all a bit awkward to show. So salopettes, talked about the middle area, keeping that warm somehow. You need to kind of think about that. You don't want to go chill on your tummy, as my mum used to call it. You do want something waterproof over your legs. So you may have waterproof walking trousers or waterproof over trousers, so that together with your waterproof top, waterproof over trousers, you should be okay. The boat we're on isn't going to be a particularly wet boat when you're in the cockpit. Trousers underneath, well, I like to take a sort of lightish pair such as these because they dry out quite quickly. You don't really want jeans on, frankly. You may want a pair of jeans for the evenings, but during the day, if they got wet, you're never going to dry them out. and therefore something lightweight might be a good idea. Tops. Long sleeve ones like these, really useful. Wicking tops, and have several layers of them, as well as long sleeve. You might want to have some short sleeve ones, or you may just want to wear something comfortable that's cotton. Cotton's absolutely fine. Going back to the little under jacket like this one I was wearing here, I also often take fleeces. Fleeces are really good because they'll keep you really nice and warm. They use up plastic bags or something to make them, don't they? That's a really good plan instead of one of these, or as well as something like that. Bring fleeces. The more layers the better, frankly. If it's perishing cold and the wind is whipping around, you just don't want to get cold, do you? So have lots of layers. You may find that what you've already got in the way of t-shirts and things will do you fine. No need to get anything extra if you've got a decent number of things like that. Whilst we're still relatively decent, if you're a glasses wearer, that you get something like this, and they're just a strap that you can put the arms into each end, and it means that they're not going to fall off. They're secure. Mobile phone, you may want to keep yours down below and somewhere dry anyway, but if you're using a phone to take photos up on deck, then you might want to get yourself a waterproof bag that allows you to touch phone through the plastic, at least to keep your phone dry. Whilst I'm about headgear, really useful if you could bring a head torch for night times. I'd be super pleased if you could, as will your fellow crew members, to have one that has red lights. You can have white lights as well, but red lights are far less disturbing for other people if you've got to get up in the night. A headlight with red as one of its options of colour of light, that would be absolutely terrific. Now, you may, I hope, find that you'll need shorts rather than trousers all the time. Any old pair of shorts will do. These happen to be racing sailing shorts, and I saw the price of those in the shops in March, and they are utterly ridiculous. So don't get sailing shorts. They are crazy prices, but bring as many shorts as you think you may need. I've told you I don't like getting cold, and so I would seriously suggest a good pair of long johns. They're gonna save you from getting pretty miserable and cold. A pair of long johns, absolutely terrific value as well. So we're almost there. I'm not going any further than that, other than talk about footwear. You may have a pair of shoes that you call deck shoes, and surprise surprise, the reason they're called deck shoes is because they're great on the decks of boats. So the trouble is, designer deck shoes, when they get seawater on them, if they're any sort of colour, will fairly quickly start dyeing your socks inside. So I mean, I wouldn't use deck shoes for anything other than evenings or leisure time, not for sort of a serious hard sailing day. Nowadays, sailors seem to be wearing these very lightweight training type shoes. I've never had a pair before. Again, super non-slip bottoms. They will get wet. They're kind of designed to get wet, so your feet are going to be wet, but they'll be warm and wet. And they're also designed so that they dry out really quickly. So you may want to bring trainers. A cheap light pair of trainers is going to get a lot of seawater on it, so don't expect it to last forever, which is why you may not want to spend a fortune. I mean, old-fashioned real heavy offshore sailors would wear a boot like this. Mine have seen better days, so I probably won't take these with me. Socks. What are you going to put on underneath your shoes? I would suggest not some great woolen walking boot sock, because they're going to get sodden pretty quickly, and I don't know how you're going to dry them. I would suggest you get some fairly light, thin socks, but something that dries out pretty quickly overnight. I've got one of these dry bags to put most of my gear in. I mentioned early on in one of my early emails, can you bring soft bags or whatever they are to put your stuff in, because they can be squeezed into corners of boats relatively easily. I think I'm going to stop there and sign off. You'll be able to make use of what you've got to a large extent, maybe get one or two extra things, and I'll do a list as well of what I've been putting on this afternoon. See you soon. Bye. Take two. Can't go into any greater detail. And dear, the next layer. And tight crowds, a strap each end. Down below, bag, touch, get up in the night. Shorts, any shorts. Pretty miserable, hard. And these very lightweight, can't do it, bottoms, be warm and wet, but I'm not an expert in relation to this. Hanging on one of the rails on a nice sunny day.